Do you have a question? Do you have a legal question that you'd like answered on the radio? Despina happy to do that for you. Just go to the website radio97.com.au and find a couple of ways to get your question to us. And then Despina happy to answer it for you right here as she's about to do, Brooke.
Yeah. Yes, thank you so much, Wayno. This question comes in from Darren. So, on behalf of his lovely wife, Jenny, he wrote in, Jenny was driving around New South Wales, a particular council area, and council were mowing alongside the main road. A rock from the mower hit her windscreen and immediately shattered it. So in that moment, completely gone skis, not looking good. She pulled over and the man mowing came over to see if she was okay. I'm assuming, we're not 100% sure, maybe he apologized. But she does have dash cam, hasn't yet checked what, it looks like on the camera there. But yeah, the windscreen is shattered. Can she get any sort of compensation from council, or is she footing the bill? Despina, what do you take away from this question from Darren?
Well, we can talk about a lot of things in relation to this question, and it's a great question, isn't it? And thank you so much for sending it in. I think they can. There's potential for a claim for compensation, damages, whatever you want to call it, reimbursement of the loss and expenses you've incurred in having to rectify the damage to the windscreen and anything else that might have happened to the car. So yes, definitely there is potential. Now, we want to talk about some practical issues. We've always said on the show, it's about what you can prove, not what you know. So if you're driving along, particularly on a main highway, it's going to be pretty hard for you if you don't have a dash cam, and we'll query what the dash cam actually shows. In fact, it's going to be pretty hard for you to just pull over, take a photo, go back and take a photo of the sign if there was one on the side of the road about mowing in progress or slashing in progress, whatever it usually says, if there was a sign at all. And it's difficult for you to do that. So that's about collating your evidence. Otherwise, it's just what you say happened. And of course, whoever has got a contractor out there mowing, presumably it's council, could be another statutory body, they would have a record of the workers, I presume, a logbook of who's out there on this day at this time. Yeah. But certainly the most important thing is to pull over, if you can, somewhere on an emergency lane, if it's on a highway. If it's not on a highway, should be easy for you to just pull over on the left, perhaps, and take a picture of the scene. So, when you have a car accident, I always take photos, not that I have many car accidents, but you get out and you take a picture not only of the damage of the car to your car and the other person's car, pictures of the rego, etc., but also the surroundings. What street are we on? Is it what time of the day, night, busy traffic, no busy traffic? Is it a roundabout? Is it not? Because sometimes roundabouts get tricky with who's at fault. So you want to take photos of the surrounding area, the scene, right? So then you can actually prove what happened and how the damage happened.
Yeah.
So that's super important. But yes, there is such a thing as, council can be found liable for damage caused to your vehicle if there was negligence, right? And that's what we're getting to. So negligence of council workers, there is such a thing as vicarious liability. So if it's council and they've got employees out there or even contractors working and they were negligent, then council will be liable because there's this vicarious liability where council or whoever the body is will be liable for the acts of their agents, employees, contractors, etc. So that's also important to know. The other aspect I want to mention is, as you as a driver, can you be found to be or is there going to be a contributory negligence? In other words, have you contributed somehow to the damage occurring to your windscreen? We want to talk about that. So if you're driving along, could you have avoided the damage? Now, if this was a situation where it was a 2-lane road, as in 2 lanes going the same direction on your side of the road, and you could have gone to the right lane if you saw the sign ahead, should you have? Is it something that you could have foreseen that damage could have occurred? Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah.
I know when I drive along.
Proving that as well in that exact moment, like who is to say whether they could change lanes or not? If the mole man goes, oh, you could have changed lanes, how could he even prove that?
Oh, well, that's about taking photos of where you're at and what's happening in the moment with traffic. But even if you could, that doesn't mean that you're, partially liable. and they could be found that there's contributory negligence. I mean, you are a driver on the road. That's your job or role, I suppose. You're not there to drive anywhere else.
No.
You're there to drive a car responsibly on the road. Where else are you going to drive it? So their job is to make sure that they complete the work in a safe manner. It's not about you so much as avoiding this potential damage, how are you going to foresee that if you're driving along and all of a sudden, sometimes you just see the sign straight away because there's bushes along, the median strip, and all of a sudden you see the sign, slashing in progress, and then you've got some contractor right on the edge and you've just driven past. I mean, it just happens in the moment. And if there's damage caused, well, maybe they weren't careful enough. Maybe they just weren't being as careful as they should have been. So I think definitely Darren and his wife should approach council first of all. If it's a council-owned road, it might be some other bodies involved, and put that claim through. Send the photos, the evidence, statement, when it happened, what time, who was there, and quotes for damages.
Well, Despina, you talk about negligence, but what about if it was an accident? I mean, if you're mowing, you can't see every rock and every stone that's down below the grass. So it could well just have been an accident.
Yeah.
What's the story there?
Well, accident. I mean, I'm not saying that the contractors did this intentionally.
No.
No.
But these things sometimes just happen.
They do.
Does that change anything?
Well, if you've got, just think about the situation for a moment. If you've got, say, council engaging contractors to go and mow lawns, okay, 1, lawns have to be mowed. We get it. 2, they can't be mowed in the dark when there's, less traffic. So we understand that, common sense. 3, they could be mowed during the day. Now, obviously, if they do it really early, it's better than during the day, but that can't always work out with the thousands of places they've got to mow in Queensland or New South Wales. So therefore, it's logical to think and say that, well, council must have protocols in place to make sure that the mowing happens in a safe manner so that, stones or anything that gets thrown up or that can't get thrown up is avoided or certainly minimised. So you'd really want to have a look at those protocols. So council could say, this is our protocol we put in place, but who's the person that affected the protocol, that actually was there on the day, that actually carried out the work? Were they just being haphazard and lazy, or were they actually really being careful? It was just an accident. Either way, if it was me, I would go and have a go with council and see if I can get my damages or recompensed, for what I've lost. The other issue, of course, is you may not even have insurance cover. So windscreen insurance cover usually is an optional extra on your motor vehicle insurance. So you may not even have insurance to cover your damage, because council might write back to you and go, well, you can go and claim that on your insurance. So go and do it. So you have to also suss out your insurance policy first as well to be prepared for that. But even if you could claim, you've got to pay an excess.
Yeah, excess, exactly.
And what if the excess is $1,000? And what about the inconvenience of getting it replaced?
The whole process, 100%. You lose your car for a few hours or maybe a day. So
exactly. Exactly. So it's like, another example I like to talk about is potholes.
Ooh, yep.
So I know for a fact you can, well, I know for a fact, it is definitely possible you can, if you go over a pothole, right, on a road, and that'll be state government particularly, unless it's council-owned roads, that yes, you can claim for damages. I mean, if your rim, your tyre, or wheel is damaged because there's a pothole, I mean, they might say, could you have avoided it? Well, no, I'm in heavy traffic. I can't swerve left or right. You'd then class me as an irresponsible driver.
Yep.
So no, I stayed in my lane as I should. I couldn't avoid it. It was a massive pothole. Look at my car now. It's damaged. And I think there's a really good, absolutely. And and I think, Brooke, you've got a website that we found that you want to let people know about making a claim for damages in that situation.
Definitely. So if you're ever in that situation, thank you so much again, Darren and Jenny, for sending in your question. There are government websites that you can head straight to in regards to lodging a claim. So if you're in Queensland, qld.gov.au. And if you're on the other side of the border in beautiful New South Wales, service.nsw.gov.au. Head to the search tab there in the corner, lodge a claim, and all the details and answers are there for you. So thank you so much, Despina, for coming on the show for Talking Law. If anyone does want to get in touch like lovely Darren and Jenny, where can they go?
They can phone the office 55291 294. They can send an email info@prialalegal.com.au, like some of your listeners have in the past. That's great. And then this segment will be up on YouTube at the end of the week.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Despina and Wayne.
And we'll do it all again next week.
Thanks. See you then, guys.
Are you confused about legal jargon? Do you need legal advice but don't know where to turn? Tune in to Talking Law with Despina Priala every Thursday morning at 8:30 on Radio 97. Despina, a leading lawyer with over 20 years of experience, will demystify the law and provide practical advice to help you navigate legal issues. Whether it's a family matter, a property dispute, or a business concern, Talking Law has got you covered. Don't miss out on this valuable resource. Tune in to Talking Law with Despina Priala every Thursday morning at 8:30 on Radio 97.